I think fast, talk smart. Good evening, everyone. Have you ever faced a moment when the stakes were high and you had just seconds to decide what to say or do? Maybe it was during a job interview, an important conversation with a loved one, or even a split-second decision in the face of a challenge. In those moments, our ability to think fast and talk smart can define the outcome. But how do we prepare for the unpredictable? I'll never forget a pivotal moment in my own life when I stood at a crossroads. I had every reason to stay silent, to let fear paralyze me, but instead I took a deep breath, embraced the unknown, and trusted in the strength I'd built through my experiences. And that moment, as small as it seemed, became the catalyst for transformation. Thinking fast isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about finding stillness amid chaos, leaning into who you are, and choosing your words and actions with intention. What I've learned is that every setback, every unexpected twist is an opportunity to craft your story. And when you own that story, you gain a voice that's both authentic and powerful. Embrace uncertainty as opportunity. Uncertainty. It's that feeling we get when the ground beneath us feels unstable, when the path ahead is blurry, and when we can't quite predict what's coming next. It's uncomfortable, isn't it? We want certainty. We crave stability. But what if I told you that uncertainty, this thing we so often resist, is actually a gift? For so much of my life, I thought I needed a clear plan. I thought I needed to know exactly where I was headed, what the next step would be, and how it would all unfold. But life doesn't work that way, does it? Life is messy, it's unpredictable, and sometimes it throws us curveballs we never saw coming. I remember one of those curveballs vividly. It was a moment when everything I had planned for my future was taken away. In the blink of an eye, I was thrust into uncertainty, and it felt like the walls around me were closing in. But here's the thing in that uncertainty, something unexpected began to happen. I realized I had a choice. I could let the fear of the unknown paralyze me, or I could lean into it. I could let go of needing to control every outcome and instead open myself up to the possibilities that uncertainty offered. And what I found was this: when we embrace uncertainty, we create space for growth, for creativity, and for reinvention. Think about it. Every great discovery, every incredible invention, and every personal breakthrough didn't come from staying in the comfort zone. They came from moments when someone stepped into the unknown and said, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to try. Uncertainty forces us to think differently. It challenges us to be resourceful, to dig deeper, and to find strength we didn't know we had. It pushes us to adapt, to innovate, and to see the world and ourselves in new ways. Pause before you leap. In our fast-paced world, we're often told to act quickly, seize opportunities, and strike while the iron is hot. And while there's value in being decisive, sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is pause. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Pausing feels counterproductive, doesn't it? Especially when everything around us screams go, go, go. But let me tell you a little secret. It's in the pause that the magic happens. I've learned this lesson over and over again. There was a time when I believed I had to have all the answers immediately. When a challenge came my way, I would leap into action without stopping to breathe, without asking myself, is this the right step? Is this truly what I want? And more often than not, I found myself scrambling, reacting instead of responding. But life has a way of teaching us, doesn't it? I remember a particular moment when I faced a decision that felt overwhelming. Everything in me wanted to act, to do something, anything to avoid sitting in the discomfort of not knowing what to do. But for some reason, this time was different. This time, I gave myself permission to pause. And in that pause, I found clarity. I realized that rushing wouldn't have made me any more prepared. It wouldn't have made the outcome any better. What I needed wasn't speed, it was alignment. Alignment with my values, with my vision, and with the person I wanted to be on the other side of that decision. When we pause, we give ourselves a chance to ground ourselves. We create space to listen, not just to the noise around us, but to the still, small voice inside that often holds the answers we're seeking. It's in the pause that we connect to our intuition, to our creativity, and to the courage we need to leap, not just for the sake of leaping, but with intention and purpose. Think about a time when you rushed into something, a decision, a conversation, or even a response to someone. How did it feel afterward? Did it leave you wishing you had taken just a moment to collect your thoughts? That's the power of the pause. It's not about hesitating out of fear, it's about pausing out of wisdom. Let authenticity lead the way. What does it mean to be truly authentic? We hear this word all the time, don't we? Be yourself. Stay true to who you are. It sounds simple, but in a world that constantly asks us to fit in, to conform, and to measure up, authenticity can feel like the hardest thing to hold on to. But here's the truth: your authenticity, your story, your voice, your quirks, and even your imperfections is your greatest strength. It's what sets you apart, what makes you memorable, and what gives you the power to connect with others in a way no one else can. I learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time in my life when I thought I had to hide parts of myself to fit in. I thought I had to say the right things, wear the right clothes, and follow the right path. And for a while I did, but you know what happened? I lost myself in the process. It wasn't until life threw me a curveball, one that stripped away everything I thought defined me, that I realized something profound. The parts of me I was hiding were the very parts that made me me. The parts I thought made me different, maybe even unworthy, were the parts that held the power to inspire and connect. When you let authenticity lead the way, you stop trying to be what you think the world wants you to be. You stop striving for perfection and you start showing up as you are. And here's the beautiful thing: when you show up authentically, you give others permission to do the same. It's not about being flawless. It's about being real. It's about saying, this is who I am. These are my strengths, my struggles, my dreams, and my scars, and I'm proud of all of it. Because when we lead with authenticity, we lead with vulnerability, and vulnerability is what builds trust, connection, and community. I'll never forget the first time I stood on a stage and shared my story. I was terrified. I thought, what if they don't understand? What if they judge me? But instead, I felt the room shift. I saw people lean in, not because my story was perfect, but because it was real. Being controlled by your feelings or being overwhelmed by the feelings of others, it's about learning to navigate them with curiosity and compassion. It's about asking, what is this emotion here to teach me? How can I use it to grow, to connect, and to make a difference? Trust your preparation. There's something magical about watching someone perform under pressure: a speaker delivering an inspiring message, an athlete landing the perfect move, or an artist creating a masterpiece in the moment. It looks effortless, doesn't it? But behind that seamless execution is something we don't always see: preparation. Preparation is the foundation of confidence. It's the work we do behind the scenes, the hours we spend honing our skills, practicing, and learning. And yet, when the big moment comes, it's easy to let doubt creep in. It's easy to question, am I really ready for this? I've been there so many times, standing at the edge of a stage, about to share my story with a room full of strangers. I would feel the weight of that question pressing on me. My heart would race, and I'd wonder if I had done enough to be ready. But every time, I'd remind myself, you've prepared for this. Trust it. Lean into it. And as soon as I did, something incredible would happen. My preparation would carry me. That's the thing about preparation. It's not just about rehearsing the words, practicing the moves, or memorizing the details. It's about building the muscle of resilience. It's about training yourself over and over so that when the time comes, you can step into the moment with confidence, not because you know exactly how it will unfold, but because you know you've done the work. I've learned that preparation isn't just about the technical aspects of what we do. It's about mindset. It's about showing up consistently, even when it's hard, even when it feels like progress is slow. It's about committing to the process, knowing that every small effort you put in today is paving the way for success tomorrow. But here's where it gets interesting. Trusting your preparation doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. It doesn't mean you won't face surprises or setbacks along the way. What it does mean is that when things don't go as planned, you'll have the tools, the skills, and the adaptability to navigate those moments with grace. I think back to a time when I was competing and everything that could go wrong did. The equipment malfunctioned, the conditions weren't ideal, and I felt completely thrown off. But as I stood there, I realized something: the years of preparation weren't just about perfecting the technical moves, they were about building the trust in myself to handle the unexpected. And in that moment, I let go of the need for perfection and relied on the foundation I had built. When you trust your preparation, you let go of fear. You stop second-guessing yourself and start leaning into the knowledge, the practice, and the experiences that have brought you to this moment. It's not about knowing every answer, it's about knowing that you have what it takes to figure it out. Own your story. Each of us has a story. It's made up of our experiences, our triumphs, our struggles, and everything in between. And yet so many of us hesitate to share that story. Maybe we think it's not exciting enough, not dramatic enough, or that it's too messy to matter. But here's the truth: your story is your superpower. It's what makes you you, and it holds the potential to inspire, connect, and create change in ways you might not even realize. I used to think my story wasn't one I wanted to own. Parts of it felt too painful, too complicated, or even too different. I wondered if people would understand, if they'd judge me, or if they'd see me the same way afterward. But life has a way of teaching us, doesn't it? And one of the most powerful lessons I've learned is that owning your story isn't just about sharing it with the world, it's about embracing it for yourself. Because here's the thing: your story isn't just the highlight reel. It's not just the moments of success and celebration, it's the moments of struggle, the times you fell down and found a way to get back up, the lessons you learned along the way. And when you own every part of it, the beautiful, the messy, the challenging, you step into your full power. I remember the first time I truly owned my story. I was asked to speak about a chapter of my life that I wasn't sure I was ready to share. I thought, what if they don't understand? What if this part of my story makes me seem weak? But as I stood there, I realized something: the strength wasn't in hiding my story. The strength was in owning it, in saying, this is who I am, this is where I've been, and this is what it's taught me. When you own your story, you stop hiding behind it. You stop letting it hold you back or define you in ways you don't want it to. Instead, you take control. You decide what your story means, what you want to do with it, and how it will shape the person you're becoming. But owning your story isn't just about you, it's about the impact your story can have on others. You never know who needs to hear it. You never know who might be going through something similar, feeling alone or uncertain, and who might find hope, strength, or inspiration in your journey. Your story doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be wrapped up with a neat little bow. In fact, it's the imperfections that make it real, relatable, and powerful. When you own your story, you remind others that it's okay to be human, to struggle, to evolve. You remind them that no matter what they're facing, they're not alone, and that they too can turn their story into something extraordinary. I think fast, talk smart. As we've explored today, the power to think fast and talk smart isn't just a skill, it's a mindset. It's about embracing the moments that challenge us, leaning into authenticity, and trusting in the preparation and resilience we've built over time. It's about learning from setbacks, finding clarity in the pause, and connecting with others through emotional awareness and the courage to own our stories. The truth is, life doesn't wait for us to have all the answers. It doesn't pause for us to feel completely ready. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The unexpected moments, the ones that push us outside of our comfort zones, are often where we grow the most. So as you step forward into the world, whether it's onto a stage, into a conversation, or toward a dream that feels bigger than you remember this, you already have everything you need within you. The courage to embrace uncertainty, the wisdom to pause before you leap, and the strength to turn life's challenges into opportunities. Trust your preparation. Let your authenticity lead the way. And most of all, own your story, because it's uniquely yours and it has the power to inspire and transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you. So when life asks you to think fast, talk smart, and show up in the face of the unexpected, you'll be ready. Not because you've mastered perfection, but because you've embraced what makes you human: your courage, your creativity, and your connection to the world around you. Thank you. I was forced to pause, and for a while it felt like everything had come to a standstill. The plans I had so carefully made no longer seemed possible. And in that moment, I had a choice. I could focus on everything I had lost, or I could look for a new way forward. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But as I began to pick up the pieces, I realized something profound. Every setback carries with it the seeds of opportunity. It's not about pretending the challenge doesn't exist or minimizing the pain it causes. It's about choosing to see beyond it, to look for the lessons, and to turn those lessons into strategies that propel you forward. Think about it. When life throws you off course, you're forced to think differently. You're pushed to step outside your comfort zone and consider paths you might never have explored otherwise. And in that process, you discover strengths, skills, and perspectives you didn't even know you had. Turning setbacks into strategies isn't about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. It's about asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And how can I use this experience to create something better than what I had before? I've seen this principle play out time and time again, not just in my own life, but in the lives of so many others who've faced adversity and come out stronger on the other side. People who turned heartbreak into healing, failure into innovation, and loss into a renewed sense of purpose. They didn't let the setback define them, they let it refine them. When we face a challenge, we often think, why me? Why now? But what if we flip the script? What if we ask, what is this here to teach me? How can this experience shape me into the person I'm meant to be? Tap into emotional awareness. Emotions, they're the invisible threads that weave through every moment of our lives. Whether it's joy, fear, frustration, or hope, our emotions have the power to guide us, shape our actions, and even connect us with others in profound ways. Yet so often we push them aside, dismiss them, or try to control them because, let's face it, they can feel overwhelming. But what if, instead of running from our emotions, we leaned into them? What if we saw them not as obstacles, but as allies? This is what emotional awareness is all about. It's the ability to recognize, understand, and embrace what we're feeling in any given moment, not as something to fix, but as something to learn from. I didn't always understand the power of emotional awareness. There was a time when I thought strength meant keeping my emotions in check, locking them away so they couldn't distract me or make me appear vulnerable. But life has a way of teaching us the lessons we need most, doesn't it? And one of the greatest lessons I've learned is that emotions are not weaknesses, they're signals. When I faced one of the hardest challenges in my life, I felt a storm of emotions, fear, anger, sadness, even hope. At first, I tried to suppress them, thinking if I just ignore this, it will pass. But it didn't pass. It grew louder, and it wasn't until I stopped, allowed myself to feel, and asked, what is this trying to tell me, that I began to find clarity. You see, emotions are like a compass. They point us toward what matters most. Fear reminds us of our need for safety and courage. Sadness shows us where we need healing. And joy shows us what we're truly alive for. When we tune into our emotions, we gain insights not only about ourselves, but about the world around us. But emotional awareness doesn't stop at recognizing our own feelings. It extends to understanding the emotions of others. When we develop empathy, when we pause to really listen, not just to someone's words, but to what they're feeling, we build bridges. We create connections that are deeper and more meaningful than anything words alone can convey. I remember a moment when I was speaking to someone who was going through a tough time. They didn't need advice, they didn't need solutions. What they needed was for someone to sit with them, to truly see them and to say, I hear you, I feel you. That connection, that understanding was more powerful than anything else I could have offered. Emotional awareness isn't about being controlled by your feelings or being overwhelmed by the feelings of others. It's about learning to navigate them with curiosity and compassion. It's about asking, what is this emotion here to teach me? How can I use it to grow, to connect, and to make a difference? Trust your preparation. There's something magical about watching someone perform under pressure, a speaker delivering an inspiring message, an athlete landing the perfect move, or an artist creating a masterpiece in the moment. It looks effortless, doesn't it? But behind that seamless execution is something we don't always see: preparation. Preparation is the foundation of confidence. It's the work we do behind the scenes, the hours we spend honing our skills, practicing, and learning. And yet, when the big moment comes, it's easy to let doubt creep in. It's easy to question, am I really ready for this? I've been there so many times, standing at the edge of a stage, about to share my story with a room full of strangers. I would feel the weight of that question pressing on me. My heart would race, and I'd wonder if I had done enough to be ready. But every time, I'd remind myself, you've prepared for this. Trust it. Lean into it. And as soon as I did, something incredible would happen. My preparation would carry me. That's the thing about preparation. It's not just about rehearsing the words, practicing the moves, or memorizing the details. It's about building the muscle of resilience. It's about training yourself over and over so that when the time comes, you can step into the moment with confidence, not because you know exactly how it will unfold, but because you know you've done the work. I've learned that preparation isn't just about the technical aspects of what we do. It's about mindset. It's about showing up consistently, even when it's hard, even when it feels like progress is slow. It's about committing to